The moment Kody Brown spoke, the air practically crackled with tension, because what he said next wasn't just a casual remark. It was a bombshell that would send shockwaves through the entire Sister Wives universe. "Christine's husband probably wants to punch me," he admitted, and instantly, fans everywhere felt the weight of every word, because anyone who has followed this family knows that Kody's ability to acknowledge his own failings is as rare as it is startling. It wasn't just an offhand comment. It was the culmination of years of tension, emotional neglect, and messy, publicly documented marriages that left deep scars not only on his wives but also on the children who had no choice but to navigate a household rife with favoritism and conflict. And yet, despite the chaos, Kody's words carried an almost eerie calm, a resigned acceptance that the world might judge him harshly, but he could no longer pretend that everything was fine, that the cracks in his relationships with Christine, his children, and even the audience weren't glaringly obvious. The confession alone was enough to ignite speculation and fan debates across social media. But the story behind it, the intricate web of love, betrayal, and human emotion, was far more compelling. Christine had endured years of a marriage where she poured herself into her children, into maintaining a household, into being the glue that held a plural family together, only to be met with neglect, favoritism toward another wife, and moments of outright cruelty that were broadcast for the world to see. From being ignored during intimate gestures to watching Kody prioritize Robin in ways that were so obvious, even the cameras could not mask it, Christine's experience was heartbreaking, and it set the stage for why her new life with David Woolley would appear almost like a revelation. David, the man who entered her world after years of emotional starvation, offered the starkest contrast possible. Attentive, affectionate, emotionally available, and entirely committed to making Christine feel valued, seen, and cherished. He didn't need cameras to force him to act. His actions came from genuine love, and watching Christine transform under his care, glow in a way she hadn't in years, created a story of redemption, hope, and vindication that even the most cynical fans could not ignore. Kody's admission that David probably wants to punch him wasn't merely about aggression or hostility. It was an acknowledgement of a truth that had been staring him in the face for years. His treatment of Christine had been deeply damaging, and anyone who loved her, anyone who truly valued her, would react to that mistreatment with a righteous intensity. But it wasn't just about Kody and David. The fallout rippled across an entire family dynamic that had long been fractured. Christine and Kody shared 6 children, each of whom had developed their own perspectives on a father who seemed at times absent, at times emotionally unavailable, and at times openly favoring another wife over their mother's needs. The children's loyalty to Christine and, increasingly, to David, underscored the shifting power dynamics within the family. Social media posts, YouTube channels, and candid reflections made it abundantly clear that Kody had alienated the very people who should have been closest to him. Meanwhile, David, entering this complicated family landscape, did so with respect, patience, and a clear understanding of boundaries, creating an environment where healing could finally begin. Watching Kody confront the reality that he had lost respect and affection, that he had created circumstances where his ex-wife's new husband could rightly feel protective and even angry, was a rare and uncomfortable moment of self-awareness, a crack in a persona that had often seemed impervious to criticism. The tension was palpable, and it served as a stark reminder that actions, especially over decades, have consequences that no amount of charm or rationalization can erase. But as shocking as Kody's confession was, it was only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface lay years of nuanced emotional turmoil, heartbreak, and human vulnerability that made this story resonate far beyond the usual reality TV drama. Fans had long seen the superficial drama, arguments, tears, and confrontations captured for cameras, but the deeper story, the one that really explained why David could plausibly want to punch Kody, involved understanding the intricate web of relationships, betrayals, and emotional neglect that had defined the Brown household for decades. Christine's endurance, patience, and eventual courage to leave a marriage that no longer served her, to step into a life where she was not competing for scraps of affection, was heroic in its own right. And David's entrance into her life didn't just highlight Kody's failings. It illuminated what a healthy, mature, loving partnership could look like, making the contrast all the more stark and dramatic. As Kody reflected on these realities, Acknowledging both his mistakes and the likely emotional response of David, it became clear that even the man at the center of this storm was beginning to understand the gravity of his past actions. And for the audience, the drama was electric, the tension almost unbearable, because every statement, every confession, and every reflection carried the weight of history, emotion, and the undeniable consequences of a life lived under the glare of reality television cameras. The story was only beginning to unfold, and the stakes had never been higher, leaving fans on the edge of their seats, desperate to see what would happen next in this tangled, explosive web of family, love, betrayal, and redemption. To fully grasp why this moment between Kody and David is so electrifying, we have to rewind and examine the intricacies of Kody and Christine's past, a story that spans decades, layers of complexity, and a marriage that promised partnership but often delivered pain. Christine, entering a plural marriage with hope and belief in the lifestyle, quickly found herself shouldering the immense responsibility of raising children, managing households, and constantly negotiating the attention of a husband whose priorities seemed to shift at a whim. The final years of her marriage with Kody were marked not by compromise, but by neglect, emotional absence, and favoritism so blatant it became almost unbearable for those watching. Fans remember the shocking moments. Kody openly favoring Robin, failing to engage with Christine's efforts, and expressing disinterest in her emotional or physical presence. Simple acts like making a meal or planning a trip became symbolic of a larger pattern of disregard. It was a constant reminder that Christine, despite her unwavering dedication, was competing for attention in a marriage where she deserved to be the center, yet never was. The heartbreak was compounded by public scrutiny. The world watched as her sacrifices were minimized, and the person she trusted most seemed incapable of acknowledging her worth. This backdrop makes David Woolley's arrival not just a romantic plot twist, but an emotional revolution. David entered Christine's life with a recognition of her pain and a desire to offer what she had been denied. Consistency, respect, affection, and a partnership rooted in genuine care rather than convenience or hierarchy. Unlike the spiritual marriage with Kody, where obligations often overshadowed love, David's legal marriage, surrounded by family and friends who celebrated their union, symbolized a new chapter of visibility, affirmation, and emotional security. Watching Christine flourish in this environment, her joy visible in her laughter, her confidence evident in her interactions with family and fans, created a story of empowerment that few could ignore. And yet, even in this celebration, tension lingered. Kody's acknowledgement that David probably wants to punch him wasn't hyperbole. It was a recognition of the emotional justice that viewers intuitively felt. After years of neglect, favoritism, and emotional cruelty, anyone who loved Christine and understood the depths of her suffering would naturally harbor anger, a protective instinct fueled by the knowledge of what she endured. Adding to this charged atmosphere were the children, whose loyalty and protective instincts mirrored the intensity of David's commitment. From Michael T. to Isabel and Gwen, the children's experiences under Kody's inconsistent attention ranged from abandonment to overt favoritism, creating wounds that were visible in social media posts, YouTube reflections, and candid commentary that pierced the often superficial veneer of reality TV drama. Christine's daughters, in particular, became living testaments to the consequences of parental neglect, their support for David and clear recognition of Kody's failings adding another layer of complexity and tension to the family dynamic. In this context, Kody's rare self-awareness takes on a dramatic weight, because it isn't just a personal reflection. It's a public acknowledgement that his actions have consequences, that emotional neglect is visible, and that failing those you love has repercussions that extend across generations. The narrative tension here is extraordinary. A man who has spent decades avoiding accountability is suddenly facing a mirror in the form of his ex-wife's happiness and her new husband's protective instincts. For viewers, the suspense is irresistible. The story teeters on the edge of resolution, yet promises continued conflict, leaving the audience craving the next revelation, the next acknowledgement, the next moment where truth collides with emotion in ways that no editing or camera manipulation can disguise. This part of the saga reminds us that reality television at its best doesn't just entertain. It exposes the raw, unfiltered complexities of human relationships, where love, resentment, protection, and redemption coexist in a delicate and often explosive balance. And as Christine thrives, as David navigates the fractured family landscape with care, and as Kody finally begins to grasp the consequences of his decades-long patterns, the drama escalates with every passing moment, creating a story that feels more like a high-stakes soap opera than a reality show, and yet remains grounded in the tangible, emotional experiences of real people navigating the aftermath of pain, love, and transformation. Fans are left questioning, analyzing, and emotionally invested in every gesture, every statement, every unspoken tension, because the stakes aren't just fictional. They are human, raw, and undeniably compelling. As we dive deeper into this tangled web, it becomes impossible to ignore the role of Robyn Brown, Kody's fourth wife, whose presence in the family created an unmistakable tension that had been simmering for years. Robyn's arrival and Kody's apparent favoritism toward her were more than just personal preference. They were catalysts for fractures that ran deep, shaping Christine's experience, influencing the children, and ultimately coloring every interaction that followed. While Christine, Mary, and Janelle were expected to navigate Kody's sporadic attention, Robyn received disproportionate support, time, and emotional energy, creating a sense of imbalance that even casual viewers could see unfolding on screen. During the co-pandemic period, these disparities became glaring, with Kody enforcing rigid rules and restrictions for Christine and the other wives while Robyn seemingly existed in a bubble of leniency, a microcosm of preference that left emotional scars in its wake. Moments that should have been ordinary, like attending medical procedures or spending quality time with the children, became battlegrounds of favoritism and neglect, highlighting the stark contrast between the care Christine's daughters desperately needed and the selective attention Kody granted elsewhere. This context makes David Woolley's entrance all the more significant. He did not merely enter Christine's life as a romantic partner. He entered as a stabilizing, healing presence who saw the pain that had been long ignored and chose to actively dismantle the patterns of neglect and emotional withholding that had dominated Christine's life. The effect was transformative. Fans could watch, almost in disbelief, as Christine, who had spent decades navigating the unpredictable whims of a husband who prioritized another wife, began to shine. Her laughter, her confidence, her unguarded joy were all tangible evidence of the restorative power of a partner who genuinely values and respects her, creating a visual and emotional contrast so stark that the audience could feel the injustice of her past every time she smiled in David's presence. Yet the tension with Kody remained, a lingering shadow over the family's dynamic that added suspense to every interaction. Kody's acknowledgement that David probably wants to punch him was not hyperbole, but a public admission of guilt and awareness, a rare moment where he faced the consequences of decades of emotional oversight and favoritism. The suspense escalates when considering the children, who became a visible and vocal presence in this evolving drama. Christine's daughters, particularly Gwen and Isabel, took a stand, clearly aligning with their mother and her new life while highlighting Kody's repeated failings. The emotional stakes were amplified as fans witnessed moments where Kody's absence or neglect intersected with critical life events for his children, from surgeries to milestone celebrations, creating a growing chasm between him and the very people who should have been his closest allies. Meanwhile, David navigated this new family terrain with careful respect and understanding, demonstrating patience and empathy that starkly contrasted Kody's previous behavior. The suspense here is multi-layered. Would Kody attempt to repair these fractured relationships, or was this acknowledgement of David's feelings merely performative, a fleeting crack in an otherwise rigid persona? For the audience, the drama was heightened by the unpredictability of reality itself. No scripts, no staged lines, just raw, unfolding human emotion exposed for all to analyze. Every glance, every comment, every hesitation became a clue, a piece of the puzzle revealing the true consequences of long-term neglect, favoritism, and the eventual redemption that comes from genuine care and commitment. As the saga progressed, fans could see the stark contrast between two very different men, each representing distinct paradigms of love, attention, and responsibility. Kody's failures, magnified over decades, stood in sharp relief against David's deliberate choices, his visible affection, and his unwavering commitment to Christine. This juxtaposition didn't just create suspense. It created a narrative tension that made viewers emotionally invested in every development, every revelation, and every subtle interaction. It became clear that this was not merely a story about a failed marriage or a new romance. It was a story about justice, emotional reckoning, and the undeniable consequences of actions that span decades. And yet, even amidst the drama, there was hope. Christine's ability to reclaim her life, her voice, and her happiness became a beacon for audiences, a powerful reminder that leaving an unhealthy situation and stepping into a life of respect and love is not only possible but transformative. The suspense lay in every next step, in every unspoken tension between Kody and David, in every potential confrontation, and in the continuing evolution of relationships that had long been fraught with imbalance and emotional neglect. Audiences, glued to every update, were not just watching a reality show. They were witnessing a deeply human story of failure, accountability, love, and eventual redemption, with stakes that were as real as they were emotionally riveting. Every interaction promised more drama, more revelations, and the lingering question of whether Kody could ever truly comprehend the depth of the damage done, or if this chapter would close with unresolved tension and continued family fractures. The story reaches its most compelling point when considering the future, the potential for growth, and the raw emotional stakes that remain unresolved. Kody's admission that David probably wants to punch him opens a Pandora's box of possibilities. Will this rare self-awareness evolve into real change, or will it remain a fleeting acknowledgement of past mistakes? The audience is left holding its breath because the consequences of Kody's decades-long patterns are not theoretical. They are visible in fractured relationships, estranged children, and a history of neglect that no apology can fully erase. Meanwhile, Christine and David continue to build a life grounded in mutual respect, communication, and visible affection, providing the ultimate counterpoint to the chaos of the past. The contrast could not be starker. Where Kody's relationships were marked by competition, favoritism, and inconsistency, David's are defined by stability, care, and deliberate emotional investment. This creates a narrative tension that is irresistible, keeping fans speculating about future interactions, potential confrontations, and the ultimate fate of the Brown family dynamics. Every public appearance, every social media post, and every interview becomes a narrative thread, a clue to the evolving drama that viewers cannot tear themselves away from. The children remain a central piece of this intricate puzzle, their loyalties clear, their protective instincts palpable, and their responses adding layers of depth and suspense to every development. Christine's journey from neglect to empowerment is nothing short of inspiring, serving as a real-world lesson in resilience, self-respect, and the transformative power of choosing oneself in the face of long-standing adversity. For fans, the story is both cathartic and emotionally charged. Seeing Christine thrive with David validates years of emotional investment and loyalty, while Kody's rare moment of accountability provides the suspenseful question of whether redemption is possible or merely performative. Beyond the personal drama, the saga illuminates broader themes of accountability, the consequences of favoritism, and the importance of genuine emotional presence in relationships, creating a story that resonates far beyond reality TV audiences. As the cameras continue to capture new interactions, the potential for explosive confrontations, emotional revelations, and dramatic twists remains high, leaving viewers in suspense and fully engaged, eager for every update. The finale of this ongoing drama is not yet written, and the tension lies in the uncertainty of what Kody will do next, whether the children will allow him back into their lives, and how Christine and David's relationship will continue to navigate the complex family landscape left behind by years of neglect and favoritism. For the audience, this is more than entertainment. It is a vivid, emotionally compelling story of human behavior, consequences, and the enduring power of choosing love, respect, and personal growth over patterns of dysfunction. Every word, every gesture, and every revelation continues to captivate, leaving viewers glued to screens, emotionally invested, and desperate to see the next chapter in a saga that combines real-life drama, intense suspense, and a powerful message about resilience, self-worth, and the possibility of starting over, no matter how complicated the past may have been. And as the story continues to unfold, one thing is clear. The Sister Wives saga, with Kody, Christine, David, and the entire family at its center, remains one of the most dramatic, suspense-filled, and emotionally compelling narratives in reality television, keeping audiences hooked, commenting, and speculating with every revelation, every confession, and every moment that tests the boundaries of love, loyalty, and accountability.